move, Ivy. Nope. It did not.
All right.
Yay. All right. We tested the intro. It didn't work. I can normally get it to work. We'll try again next time.
Yeah.
Welcome, welcome. Hi, Chris. I like your hat.
Thanks, Larkin.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you.
It's very cool looking.
What an interesting start to the first show.
I know, isn't it great?
Yeah. Oh, it reminds me of the day. Back in the day.
Hey, we're genuine, if nothing else. Welcome, everybody. It's Larkin and Chris back with Enhancing Your World. And we're going to share with you a little bit about our break and what we learned, and about some changes that we're going to be making to our time with you in the Enhancing Your World show, if that's what we want to call it. And we're going to give you guys some special things to do as well today, too. So thank you guys for joining us today. We haven't been on together in a few months, and it's going to be fun to have you all join us. We have a lot to share with you this year. Chris, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. Can't complain. So. Well, we can always complain about something, but that's duality, right?
Right? As a human, there's always
we can always find some way to separate ourselves.
Absolutely. But we thought we'd share with you all today a little bit about why we are doing this, which is something we didn't get into a lot when we were doing the program before, and really clarify our objectives, what brought each of us here, and be very clear about what it is we want to share with you and why we think it's so powerful, so that those of you that are really in sync, that can find this valuable, will want to join us each week, and will bring your questions, and we'll take action on what we're sharing. And those of you who maybe don't resonate, maybe aren't at a place where this is a good match for you, you'll know that as well, and you can go about your way. So we're going to clear some of those things up for you today, because clarity is so important, right, Chris?
Yeah, it's hard to make a plan without clarity.
Absolutely. You might see I'm in the barns, you might see a big horse walking around today. I have one of them loose walking around, so she might walk right behind me. Chris, would you like to go first? What really has brought you here? Summarize.
Well, yeah, I mean, the reason, I've been him and hawing about whether to come back or not, like we had discussed in the past, was, there's so much information out there these days that it's hard to meet on an intellectual level, as everybody has all this different knowledge and perspectives and books that they've read and ceremonies and all the things. I'm waiting for her to take your glasses.
You would too. She's in the nice shoes at the moment.
But to really focus in on, the different subtle bodies that we have as humans, and how to harmonize these energies within ourselves and within the relation that we have with life, the planet, all those things that are tied into it. To speak more on universal truths, because we all have unique experiences and stories and perspectives that are valuable. But yet, if we're not able to be a nobody and surrender those egoic attachments or labels or identities or things like that, it's really hard to create a new way of being in relation with one another. So it's realizing that, the walk, as we would say in many, in many lineages of life, is to have one step in the five senses or the physical senses, and then the other foot in the possibility of the formless energies or the formless realms, and bringing those into unity so we can create that lifestyle where we're living in harmony with each other, ourselves, each other, and we can create that sustainable planet for our future generations. Um, so that's why I'm here. To help people reduce their stress, to find their balance. Um, I hear a lot of people now, well, I lost me, and my always question is, well, who's me, and how did you lose it? Like it's not a sock. It's like
Not a
you know, and I was sharing a story before we came online to a friend, and I said, I've always kind of lived by the philosophy: if you love it, set it free, and if it comes back, then it's meant to be. And I find that a lot of things don't come back in the way that we expected them to, but the things that do will have a deeper meaning when they do. To have a wellness center, years ago, during COVID and all those times, and to have a visualization to be in a space more that I'm in today, is what we would say manifestation is, or the law of attraction, or whatever. It's what's meant to be. And to be able to provide, both the science-based technologies as well as our ancestral technologies to help bring about that change, is a very important thing or purpose in my life. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here, share what I can share, and hopefully it doesn't come from a place of authoritarianism, but more of a place of curiosity. And how can we move forward together in a new way? Because what we are seeing collectively is really a repetition of what we've been conditioned through our schooling, history and things like that. So, so I'm excited to be and share what I can and do what I can. So thanks for being here today. Letting us be of service.
excellent.
Wow.
Inspiring. It's inspiring. I think in a similar way, I am here because of all of the misinformation that I see. And I'll clarify that by saying I think we have to begin with, we are beings first and foremost. We're just electromagnetic energy that is conscious, and it's eternal. And we have this opportunity to incarnate in various realms and worlds, whatever time we want. Time doesn't exist. And we know this, right? So we have this opportunity, and we're here now in this teeny tiny little space for a really short time in these temporary bodies. And I see and hear a lot of the same messages. And I was fortunate enough to come with a very intact cosmic memory that into parents that allowed me to keep that. They really kept me away from television, from Disney World, and my imagination and my connection to my soul and my spirit team and nature, which is also God's source spirit, without the egoic mind, was really how I grew up. And so I was able to keep that, whereas most people lose that before they're the age of 6. That doesn't make me special. That just means those were my circumstances, that which my soul chose, so that I could do whatever I came to learn and to accomplish. And it's been very helpful. But along the way, I've had to, like every human, struggle to distinguish between the voice of my soul, which is my intuition, and that means maintaining my connection with my spirit team, and my cognitive brain and my mind. 2 different things. The brain is allowing the mind to function, the brain being the most physical part, the mind being the egoic part, the 95% we're not aware of. So I've spent the last few decades deciphering for myself as I go through life. What is the balance? What do I use when? When do I need my egoic self? When do I need to listen to my intuitive self? When is my negative emotion or my fear my most powerful asset because it's going to save my butt, right? And when does it need to take a back seat? And what I hear in all different communities, whether it be spiritual or new age or, you know, different religious sects or whatever, I see the human brain getting caught and then the human mind getting stuck. And we get stuck in our thoughts. And that led me decades ago to Eckhart Tolle, accidentally. And the power of now really validated for me what I was trying to figure out. And I read that book every day, nonstop, for, well, over 20 some years now. But I studied it intensely for 17 years. Every single day, I was obsessed. And it was as though the book were alive, because the more I applied it, the deeper it had meaning. And as I did that, I became more and more and more detached and neutral from my own egoic mind and perception. And so when I started getting online, doing readings and coaching, the first thing I noticed was the patterns that our minds get stuck in. And my goal, as it had been for myself, was how do I help people to create true and lasting transformation? Because we are either moving towards pleasure or away from pain. And for most of us, it's away from pain and struggle all the time. That cannot happen without transformation. And transformation can't happen without that. And so I really wanted to get a big picture of what was going on if I was going to assist or facilitate others in doing the same thing. And so I spent a good 30, 40 years just struggling through that myself, figuring out what I did. And then 10 of that really spent figuring out how do I translate that for other people? Because each of you have to do that for yourself, which leads me to what Chris was just talking about. There's so many options out there. There are coaches, there are religions, there are cults, there are books, there are practices like Tai Chi and martial arts or cooking. There's different ways in which our brains attach to things. And being human, we want to identify, we want to label. The problem is that if you're not aware that your mind is a tool and that you are the consciousness, as Eckhart Tolle says, the observer behind your thoughts, then you just get caught up in one system after the next, following one person after the next, getting caught up in one belief after the next. And you see people go like this, like I did. Maybe this will save me. Nope, it didn't. Maybe this will save me. Nope. And so Chris and I we're just two other people, right, that are here on your screen that you could say, well, maybe Larkin and Chris will help me. And then you show up, you get bored, you find something more exciting, you try what we're suggesting, and you say it doesn't work. And where are you? You're right back where you started.
Or worse, it does work.
There's greater resistance when it does work, because then your ego just wants you to go the opposite direction. But so in an effort not to sound like everyone else, my invitation to you here is, we don't want you to follow us. I think I speak for Chris and myself. We've talked about this at length, ad nauseum. We don't want to be followed. We're not giving you a perfect system for doing the right thing like everybody's promising. We're not promising you anything. What we want to do is we want to help you remember who you are as a soul. We want to help you discover your power of choice. We want to help you become aware of your thoughts and your emotions and where they lead, of your habits. We want to help you unify as a tool the combination of your soul's voice, which should be the one driving your boat, and then understand the framework and be able to deprogram and reprogram your own mind in order to create the results that you want. We want you to understand that it's not about getting what you want necessarily. It's not about avoiding pain. It's about learning to read your life. If you have constant pain or struggle in the same area for 6 months or more, what is that telling you? Society, teachers, coaches tell you, how can you end that? How can you get away from that? And my question to you is, does that really work? Because the only way out is through. And that's what you're here for. You're not here to run from the pain. You're here to step back as a conscious being and observe what your experiences are. And then learn through experience how to make the choices to step into that power. And no one can teach you or get you to do it the right way, or fix it for you. But you can have individuals such as Chris and myself who can share with you what we did and who can guide you to do it for yourself. Because our mission is to help you discover your own power. Remember who you are as a soul, because then things are clear. Then you know what's in sync with you. Then you are confident, because confidence comes through choices and action. And so what we have to present to you is really very different than anything I've seen out there. And what you need to do, if you notice what Chris has typed here in our title and everything today, is what is your level of commitment? And thank you guys for the heart. If you heart or like this or comment, it lets other people find us, okay, and know what it is we're doing. Oh, I see everybody now. Hi, Katie Newkirk. Hi, Mark Thomas. I think I always say his name wrong. But anyway, my point, guys, is this goes a level deeper. This isn't just coaching. This isn't just mindset. This isn't just healing. This isn't just spiritual work. This is your deep work. This is you taking the reins and not just listening to what other people are telling you. And so when we say, what is your level of commitment? As a call to action today, I would say really sit down with yourself tonight and ask that on a really deep level. Are you willing to be uncomfortable? Are you willing to be sad? Are you willing to sit with what you label as pain? Are you willing to let it go? Or is pain your comfort zone?
It looks like we might have lost Larkin here with a technical difficulty.
Oh no!
I know she's
I'm right here.
From a hot spot, live from her horse barn. So she might have got cut off there. But
I'm here.
Yeah, the purpose of this is to receive and explain what we've unconsciously believed for a long portion of our lives to how we're consciously receiving it in each and every moment. To embrace the isness of the now is the consistency of truth. So what we share today will be true as we share it, and it will still be applicable and relatable in other times might have shifted the way we communicate things or think about things based on new information that we were given from the time that this broadcast communicating at a mind level is information is constantly moving. Hold true as truth will reflect in our actions and our behaviors, and then justify it through um, our defense mechanisms. So it's
Mhm.
about clearing those energies of those things, allowing the signposts to move. You back, Larkin?
I never went anywhere. I was able to hear you and see myself.
Oh, you're
Can
spinning
you hear
on
me?
my end, so I'm sorry.
Um,
Like you're all choppy
no,
and
you're
disappeared.
fine. I seemed great on my side, and you seem good on my side.
Oh,
So
so maybe it's me.
it's all right. It makes the show more interesting.
Maybe
I
it's
love what
my Wi-Fi, even though I'm in the
maybe
city and it's supposed to be bad,
yours is supposed to
the
be
best
better.
connection in the country. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
One of those
Oh well.
mysteries. I think, guys, I think what Chris is talking about as far as, universal wisdom, universal truths, I think we really are going to focus on that a lot moving forward because it's our way of labeling. You guys will see I do air quotes a lot. Um, because I want you to remember universal truths are things that you can feel and sense in your gut that your soul knows and will come through your intuition. When you hear it, you're going to be like, oh, yeah. Versus, with my coaching clients, we focus a lot in the beginning on distinguishing between your cognitive thoughts and your intuition because it really, really matters. You can go listen to somebody that's speaking to your ego and it really looks and sounds great. It can make you feel euphoric and you think, wow, this is the most spiritual person on the planet and this is the most spiritual seminar ever. And it can be a bunch of baloney. Your egoic mind can't distinguish, but your intuition can. And so as we go through this, we're going to be giving you examples as the weeks go on so that you can start to pay attention on your own in everyday life. Which is my intuitive voice speaking to me? And which is my egoic thoughts? Because one is really good and serves certain things, and the other is very much needed in other circumstances. And so it's going to be really new for some of you to even the concept of, oh my gosh, there's two different versions of what I'm conceiving of. Yeah. And it's really, really powerful when you know the difference because those universal truths come from each and every one of you. You all have them. You all have the access to all the same wisdom and knowledge that Chris and I do. We just want to help stir yours up. Are you there, Chris?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. You were
Yep.
frozen, so I wanted to make sure.
I know. I keep thinking I should be shifting to make sure that I'm not froze. Like I sit so still. I was like, did my computer freeze again? What the
I
heck?
know. I wonder that too when I'm looking at you. I think we just take turns freezing for one another. When I go back and watch the replay, it'll be interesting to see if we were freezing for everyone or just one another.
Right, right. Yeah, because I've noticed that even the platform kind of has been goofy. But anyway, it is what it is, and we'll soldier on. I mean, and that I don't know where this title came from. It was just happened to be here. Maybe it was our last show that we did prior to taking a break. But it goes to show, what is your level of commitment? Most people are committed to themselves. And when the environment doesn't support that self, it acts out in various different ways. Fight or flight is how we describe it. But there's a lot of different energetic states between there. So, to say there's only two realms would be a minor distruth, because there's such a wide rainbow of spectrums of different perceptions and things like that, that it would be hard to encompass. um, it's, if we were trying to equate, if the purpose here on earth is for consciousness to have an experience, or to drink, to drink from consciousness would be trying to drink out of a fire hydrant. We would get some water in our mouth, but we would make a lot more a lot more mess than what we would get in our mouth. It's just a lot of information. And so the commitment level is, what is your commitment? Are you committed to justifying who you are as somebody, or are you able to be a shapeshifter, or and this is more of a shamanic type teachings, but a shapeshifter, or as the yogis would say, a nobody, which means free from identity. And that's limiting ourselves from, or releasing ourselves from the egoic attachment. We're always going to be an ego because it gives us a sense of direction in life. It helps me walk down the street and understand what direction I'm going in, why I'm going there, and what I'm going to do whenever I get to that perceived destination that I'm going to. So it's not to poo-poo, on anything, because that is what caused separation in me. Not to be able to be embraced as, well, that's an interesting thought, or an interesting feeling. Let's go a little deeper into that. Makes us feel more heard and accepted, rather than when we tell our parents about an experience we had as a little kid, or how it made us feel, and then they instinctually react or justify because they were doing the best they could at the time. They didn't know what they didn't know, and thank goodness they didn't, because that helped shape us to be who we are in this moment. And the more we can live with gratitude for the path that we've walked, no matter how easy or challenging it was, the more whole we are in this moment, which allows us then to move forward without leaving fragments of ourselves in the past. The fears of the what did I say yesterday, Larkin? The moths of the past coming when we turn our lights back on.
Yes.
Which is a fun analogy if you ever been out in the country and you turn a light on.
Oh my God.
You don't realize how many bugs are still alive. But it's about having fun, and it's about caring for one another as well as ourselves, because we all have this universal truth within us. Everything that has a beginning has a transition to an end. And the more we can die in this life without losing ourselves to another identity, the more we can truly live life as the human being, or the light being, or any of these other beautiful philosophies and expressions of our past consciousness, reimagined in as a bridge today, right? So above, so below, our perspectives through our body, because we're present in time space. I think that's a really good example of unity consciousness for me to mentally understand, that Father Sky and Mother Earth provide everything that we need to live a good life. And what that means is going to differentiate by what we believe that means. And when we fight each other for our beliefs, you know, we can look back in history and see how well that's worked. And justifying oppressing someone else's way of life or the way they live life or whatever, because we think we are superior or more privileged or entitled to live that way.
Beautifully said.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I've sat with some really wise people.
So many of my favorite topics. I want to invite you guys to really think about, like, why are you here today? Why do you come? Why do you listen to us? Who else do you listen to? Like, why do you listen to maybe other podcasts or things? Really ask yourself that, maybe journal about it, and really go deeper. What things are you wanting to change in your life or transform? And are they hanging on? And why are they hanging on? Are they hanging on because you're not letting go? Are they hanging on because you're trying so hard to change something without learning the lesson? Are they hanging on because you don't know how to create change? Remember, 95% of your subconscious mind you're unaware of. That's the part that's creating your life. So as a tool set, I share with my coaching clients, it's very important, since you are a multifaceted being, since you are unlimited consciousness, electromagnetic energy in a physical form, right? So you have emotions, you have physicality, you have a mental state, you have a spiritual state. And so you have to nurture and become aware of all of those. You don't have to be aware of everything, but without awareness, you have nothing. Right? If you have a disease and you're trying to cure it, or you want to make a chocolate cake and you don't have the recipe, both of those things require awareness. If you want to travel somewhere, warm with very specific colored sand and terrain for vacation, you can't do that unless you're aware of where you are and where you want to go, so you can come up with the directions, right? So awareness is absolute key. You must have awareness. And that's where it all begins. And awareness can be very frightening. There are things maybe we don't want to be aware of, right? And this is where we start talking about comfort zones and all of that. But I think it's important, as we're really kind of generalizing everything today, to really look at your own life and then to go broad, right? To look at very specifically, why are you here? What are your so-called problems? Because problems are opportunities. Challenges are there to instigate growth and evolution, to instigate awareness. That's why they're there. And so if you're trying to get away from struggle and suffering, if you're trying to escape pain or change a habit or manifest something, and it just doesn't seem to be happening, the common denominator is you. You have to look back and say, okay, what am I not learning? What am I not aware of? That you can't know, right? You have to go into awareness and ask yourself questions. What am I choosing repetitively? What comfort zone am I not getting out of? You have to start asking yourself all the right questions, or questions that will instigate answers or changes in your choice that start to initiate change. And guys, that doesn't mean it's all going to be comfortable and flowery and pretty. And it doesn't mean it's all going to be ugly either. It just means, get out of my cookies.
But that's where gratitude comes in for both of those extreme polarities. It's easy to be grateful for the things we like. So, I tend not to focus too much on that. She's going to give her horse a shot, maybe on camera. Uh, um, this is a wild show, man. You never know what's gonna happen.
Well, my horse has she has a scrape on her cornea, and so she has a catheter in her eye, and so she has to get a certain amount of medications per day. And she loves iced molasses cookies. So, oh,
uh, so like the strength of our practice of gratitude can really be to appreciate the challenging things, the painful things that we've gone through, and the wisdom or the meanings that we've derived from those experiences, and the people that we shared lives with and time with, and having the opportunity to have the awareness that they're not here, or who we are isn't that same version of us anymore. It gives us the opportunity to grieve in a certain way, and it's a process, as they say. But that will help you come back into unity of the mind, heart, body, of that the universal intelligence that makes us us. Whether you want to say, the wisdom of the stone people that have been here on Earth before there was human life, can teach us something. The trees have something to teach us. The way of nature has things to teach us. And this allows us to step beyond the man-made condition of our comforts, of our efficiencies, of our way to mark progress, and say, and saying, well, as human beings, we've progressed, but at what cost? At what cost to our mother and our brothers and sister animals of that we share this planet with? What about the microbiomes of the soil and of the waters and of the air? And because these are essential for all life here on Earth. And we have this innate ability to be consciously aware of how we steward our energies, mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, sexually, spiritually, all these different lovely labels to try to quantify what it means to be a multidimensional being. Or we can let go and let down those identities and say, I'm here to help. How may I assist you today? And that's within ourselves, that's within other people, that's within our planet. And to have a sense of pride of country but not of the planet is where we've gotten a little skewed from choosing a strong tribe to belong to, so we feel safe in uncertain times. And then unfortunately sometimes we have some people that want to take advantage of that and try to manipulate the power or influence that we have as human beings for their own agendas or their own personal gains or their own pleasures or whatever it is. But they're no different than us, except for they're willing to maybe do things that maybe we're not willing to do, or maybe they're doing it in a way that we're not willing to look at ourselves to say we're doing it in our own way. It's to release the guilt and the shame that the society and marketing and industry depend on, so we keep being consumers and stop. We continue to be consumers, and we don't see the opportunity to be co-creators, where we can plant seeds in our gardens and reap the benefits of that garden as long as we nourish it. And that includes each other, right? And that includes our businesses, that includes corporations and things like that. And I remember before my grandfather passed, we were talking about a company that it was responsible for GMOs, and I was sharing all the environmental issues that it was causing and what it was causing to societies and families and family farms and all these various different things for about a year on social media because I wasn't aware of the information. So when I got it, I shared it because I care. And my grandfather and I were sitting there talking one day, and he was going through the things I had shared, and I said, "Yeah, that's absolutely true." He said, "But I have stock in Monsanto." Now, there, right there, here's a president of a hospital spends his free time donating his time in South America to the church, to all these things, to be of service to humanity, and was okay that a corporation was destroying the planet and the humanitarian efforts for a stock price. Neither one is wrong, but with awareness comes great responsibility, and that's why I've chosen not to participate in those systems where it would be for my personal gain and maybe even collective people's personal gain to invest in the stock markets and things like that. But my cats don't care about money. They care that they get food. They care that they're cared about. They care that they have water to drink. And if my cats and my animals are like that, why aren't we? And it's because we have this creative nature that allows us to create these manifestations and images and illusions and delusions and all that to justify where we are in time space. And the more we can embody the universal principles, I use a system called Gauge. We've talked about it many times of the universal truths of gratitude, awareness, unity, growth, and energy to help me navigate the streams of consciousness, whether it's mentally, whether it's emotionally, whether it's physically, whether it's spiritually, etherically, however you want to put the labels on it. And I'm grateful for this moment because this moment's going to create the rest of my day. Might not be one I like, but I'll be grateful for it because I went through it. I experienced it. I learned something from it because it existed. And it's helped me center in a lot more listening to that than all the teachings of all the decades, of all the trainings, of all the certifications over 2 decades of doing this work to find this within myself and to be able to uh, communicate it in an eloquent way where I'm not pushing who you're supposed to be on you because you only know that. Larkin and I can't do that for you. We can support you, we can nourish you, we can provide you opportunities to step into that awareness, to step into that accountability, to step into that responsibility. But that part has to be done on an individual basis. And the more collectively as a human tribe that we band together and say, things happen to me too, and they're only relevant if we have similar scars, allows us to come from a very humble and grounded place. Because no matter what we've all went through, we've survived it. So we're strong, we're resilient, we're compassionate, we're all those things, whether we give ourselves credit for it or not. Perfect timing, Larkin.
3 to go. It takes a couple minutes. So I think one of the things that's important and that I loved when I opened this back up and I saw Chris had written, "What is your level of commitment?" Because it really has nothing to do with anyone other than you. It's really a commitment to yourself. When people say, oh, I'm committed to, to this person or to this relationship or to this job or to losing weight or to quitting smoking, whatever it is, it still first has to be a commitment to you. Because you're the one doing it and you're the only one who can do it. And one of the things I must say is I see a lot of people spending their time thinking about things and not taking action. Everything is energy. Energy is always moving. So your best and easiest, most glorious way of manifesting is to be that. Money likes speed. So let's say you're struggling with money and you've always struggled with money, or you have a lot of clutter, or, your relationships always seem to go sideways because you wait too long, or you have trouble starting a business because you spend so long trying to be prepared that you don't take action. And that's one of the things, you guys, those types of things, you need to sit down with a journal, with a notebook, and you need to ask yourself, where are your gaps? Where are your holes? Are you a person that always jumps in and you take action too fast and you never assess anything? Or are you a person that, things seem to take forever? You have a mess, you have no money because you're not acting on, you're thinking and thinking and thinking. And at some point, when you study and practice this enough, you're going to wake up one day and realize, oh my God, my whole life's just been in my head. The perception, the dreams, the goals, everything I thought was suffering, everything I thought was hard work, you're going to realize none of it was even real. Your reality literally is what you believe, and beliefs are repeated thoughts. These aren't my words, these are Eckhart Tolle's, and it's true. It's a universal truth. So take that plunge. Ask yourself, where are the gaps? This is why my, like where I find the coaching really helps people. I'm not trying to sell you on my coaching. I'm saying this is where having that support helps, because most of my clients will say, but I'm doing this, I'm trying this, it's not working. And someone on the outside has to say, where are the steps? What did you do? What action did you take to follow up on your decision and your powerful choice that was actually any different than what you've been doing?
Right.
If you're talking to a hoarder, they'll say, but I just cleaned that up last week. But I'm trying. But yeah, they've been working on it for 40 years with no change. That tells you there's something missing in the action compartment. And then I hear new agey spiritual people say, but everything's energy. If you just, everything's energy. But guess what? You're in this physical world. You can't just pretend and live like you're still on the other side. Yeah, manifesting happens like that. But you're here now with a human brain. And so it's a long, believe me, having an intact cosmic memory, it drives me nuts. Because I wake up every morning like, boop, boop, like everything's going to happen like, whoa. And then I remember, oh, I'm here.
And it never goes that way. Personal experience.
No, it doesn't, because you're in the physical world. And the actions to bake that cake actually have to happen before you can eat the cake.
Well, but at the same time, to be able to respond as it's unfolding.
Exactly. That's why we're here.
Right. Like that's
for that experience.
I know Nikola Tesla always talked about he would work his plan to perfection in his mind before he took action. And even then, you're still going to have certain roadblocks. So, I used to be a very fast, I can be very fast paced. I move incredibly fast. I don't know why. I don't care to know why. And because then it's going to be a superpower or some cool thing that happened to me, like, oh yeah, I fell out of this, fell onto my head and smashed my head open, and it made me see things, and now you should listen to me because I have like this proof that I've lived this life and I have these gifts, and it's beautiful. I'm not saying anything wrong with it. We each have a beautiful life to live. It's been my sense of urgency that has made me miss steps, take mistakes, have misunderstandings that allowed me to be here. And that to me is a spiral, right? You're always going back to new lessons, or old lessons, or, I'm having a lot of flashbacks in my memories and my dreams of times where people have physically tried to kill me and things like that, which could be very horrifying for a lot of people. And it doesn't scare me. Actually, it's like, wow, I'm surprised that I'm even here. I guess I got something to do here, and not just sit and be comfortable and talk about, sit on my peace cloud and say, everything is perfect. It's perfect because it is what it is, and it will be willed into whatever it needs to be, because that's the co-creative nature that we have. And I know we're not trying to sell you our programs or our services, or join our communities and all that. Of course, we'd love for all that to happen. I'm going to speak for myself. I can't speak for Lord. I would love for the opportunity to walk with you. However, we're not here to say that we are your solution. We're a solution, whether you choose to walk with us or not. Just like you're the solution in your life and in the relationships that you have with others. If you're expecting them to be like you, then you have work to do.
Out. Move.
And the reason that I say that is that's what makes us each special, is that we are unique like a snowflake. And the more that we band together and stick together, the greater our impact. And we can see that in commerce, we can see that in religion, we can see that in all kinds of various different ways to imagine the human experience. And that's why we're choosing to talk more on it might seem a little uppity, but more of a universal sense of awareness, rather than this is how you do this. Because unless you've done some foundational work, so where someone calls you a name, or tries to assassinate your reputation because they are confronted by you, if you get misled from your true self of knowing that you were doing what you knew was best in that moment, it's really hard to get those pieces back. Mama Lorenzo shared some wisdom with me last year at our Santata. He said, the worst thing to happen in life is to be granted a wish only to realize it was too late after you've lost it. And so the people, the experiences, the relationships, all the things that are showing up in our reality are the things that we make life up with. So let's treat them with love and respect and honor. I know you can learn more about my services, what all the enhancers here at Enhancing Your World offer, and how we can help you reduce your stress and remember who you truly are. At enhancingyourworld.com, you can join our free community. You can sign up for services, online classes, all those fun things are on our website, enhancingyourworld.com. I know Larkin has some different platforms that she's going to be working on. And I'm assuming when she returns back, she'll talk a little bit about that as we wrap up the show for today. But while we're waiting, I really do want to take the opportunity to thank each and every one of you, whether you're watching us live, whether you're commented, whether you see us on a replay or share it or anything like that. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the investment of your time and presence today. This show wouldn't be possible, wouldn't be the same without your participation. You're invaluable to this human experience, and I'm so grateful, whether we consciously know each other or not, that we can relate to each other into the higher realms of thoughts and our emotions. May today bring about some beautiful moments of clarity for you as you reflect on the question: what is your level of commitment, and what is your commitment to what is your commitment? Is it to be a beautiful partner? Is it to be a beautiful human? And what does that mean? What are you willing to give? What are you not give up? What are you willing to trade off? Because you have to let go of what's kept you where you are, so you can naturally transform into what you are naturally becoming. Much love and gratitude for all that you are, all that you do, and all that you choose to consciously be. Because my life wouldn't be the same without you. So thank you for that. Larkin, are you there? Okay. She must be taking care of her horses. But our time's up for today. So sign off. Again, if you want to learn more, catch the replays on YouTube and Facebook, and also on our website, enhancingyourworld.com. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you next week at noon. Much love.